don't you know the calendar? They're closed for Good Friday and Easter, and I know how the embassies function. They will not open when there is a holiday. I was just reasoning with God, but all that Jesus said is just call. It was so irrational. It made no sense. Dear friends, welcome to my 7th episode of my world travel stories, and today we're going to focus on a nation called Montenegro in Europe. In the year 2008, I had planned an 8-nation concert tour in Europe, starting from Lithuania, then to Ukraine, Moldova, Albania, Montenegro, Kosovo, Bosnia, and Slovenia. I was able to get almost all my visas in India except for Montenegro. Montenegro became a brand new nation on the 3rd of June 2006, and they did not have an embassy in India. So I called up the Ministry of External Affairs over there in Montenegro, and they told me that they don't have an embassy in India, but they do have a tie-up with the Serbian embassy. So I took a flight from Bangalore to Delhi and went to the Serbian embassy, and the embassy said, sorry, we have nothing to do with Montenegro. They are a separate nation now, so you need to go to them and get a visa. So all the doors were closed. So I started to look for what are the other ways, and then I found out that there was a consulate general of Montenegro in New York. So I wrote an email, and the officer replied back to me, and he said, yes, we can issue the visa in 1 day if you come to the USA. So I planned my journey. Everything was set well, and I arrived in Kalispell, Montana in the USA on the 24th of April, which was a Thursday, and I went to the FedEx office immediately, took all my documents, my passport, and sent it across overnight so that it will reach on Friday morning at the Consulate General's office in New York. The plan was that the officer would stamp my passport and they would send it back on FedEx so that I would receive it either on Saturday or latest by Monday, and my flight was on 29th of April, which was a Tuesday, early morning from Montana off to Europe. It was all so good on paper, and being an experienced traveler, I knew that this was an excellent plan. And my friend had already organized a concert over the weekend, so I was all excited about that. But deep inside me told me to go and check the holiday list of Montenegro. So I went and typed, still on Thursday it is. When I checked, to my shocking surprise, that Montenegro is celebrating Good Friday and Easter according to the Orthodox calendar, and hence they are closed from April 25th to April 28th, exactly the time I'm in USA. All my plans are completely thwarted. I didn't know what to do. So I started to have plan B and plan C. The first plan was, why don't I call FedEx and ask them to return my passport back so that even if I have to miss one country, at least I can do my concert tours in 7 other countries in Europe. When I called FedEx, they said, sorry, the passport has already left our facility. It has to reach New York, and if nobody picks up in the next 2 days, only then the passport will come back to you. So I knew that I'm really cutting short, and there is no way that I'll be able to get my passport in time to take the flight and go to Europe. The next plan was, why don't I call the airline and see if I can change my schedule? So I called the airlines, and they said, sorry sir, this is a peak season, so it's going to cost you around $2,000 if you want to change your ticket. That was too expensive. I could not afford that. I did not know what to do. I was so confused. I put my hands on my head and I was just down, and I was so confused, so lost. And this little boy comes to me and he says, Uncle Benny, you really look sad. What happened? So I told him my frustration, this plan. He said, why don't we pray to Jesus? I said, yes, that's right. You see, sometimes in the midst of our challenges, we forget that God has given us this opportunity to pray and trust and seek wisdom from Him. So I knelt down and I prayed to Jesus, explaining my frustration. And I heard a still small voice. You will not believe it, but this is what happened. Jesus said, Benny, why don't you call the embassy at 10 o'clock in the morning? I said, God, don't you know the calendar? They're closed for Good Friday and Easter, and I know how the embassies function. They will not open when there is a holiday. I was just reasoning with God, but all that Jesus said is just call. It was so irrational. It made no sense. But I did call on Friday morning at 10 o'clock. And again, to my surprise, an officer picked up. And I told, sir, I'm Benny Prasad. He said, oh, I remember getting your emails. And I'm the consulate general here, and we are closed because of Good Friday and Easter. I forgot a document which was needed, so I just stepped in just to pick up that and go back. And that is when your phone rang. So I told him, sir, I'm here in the country for a few days. I have a flight on 29th of April to Europe. He said, don't worry, Benny. Your passport should be arriving at any minute. I will wait for your passport. I will stamp your visa, and I will personally go to FedEx and mail it back to you so that you should be able to get it on Saturday, latest by Monday, so that you can travel early morning on the 29th. And he did that. You see, God did such an incredible miracle, and yet it is so irrational. It makes no sense in what I did. But all I did was I obeyed God. Might be somebody sitting there listening to what I'm sharing. You might be in deep trouble and it's making no sense to you. And you might have tried plan B and plan C. You have tried everything possible, but you have come to a point that everything is fallen and you have no hope. And I'll tell you, first thing you do is you pray. You ask Jesus for a miracle. You ask Jesus for wisdom, for guidance. He's a loving God. Secondly, obey Him even if it makes no sense, even if it is irrational. Obedience is more valuable and more important than just trying to rationalize your faith and your move. Look what happened. I obeyed God even though I had so many questions, and God did the miracle. I was able to get my passport on Saturday. On Sunday, I preached at the church. Sunday evening, I did a concert. And on Monday, I was able to tour a bit of Montana. And on Tuesday, early morning, I took the flight and went to Europe. And I had a marvelous, wonderful experience of doing my concerts and sharing my story in Europe. And God can do that miracle in your life today. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do go to youtube.com/Benny Prasad. And there is a bell icon there. Please click on that so that every time I post a video, you will be able to get that notification. And also please do share this video and the other videos that I've posted to your friends and your family so that they will be blessed and they will be enriched. God bless you all.